Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is if you have your sun in Libra and Sagittarius rising. Libra and Sagittarius are compatible signs. Air and fire get along famously. So there should be a certain harmony between the way that you present yourself and who you really are. Now, of course, who you really are, that's this lifetime. It's not your ultimate self or your higher self. It's the person that you incarnated as this time around. And your rising sign, when it is in a supportive angle like this, will kind of boost that because you will give off what I would call like a consistent type of image or harmonious image, as opposed to somebody who might have a square between their sun and rising sign, or somebody like me who has an in conjunction, where it's really weird, where it's like totally different. Now, this thing about the sextile is officially the case if, it's close enough in degrees. But just by the fact of the signs involved in general, we can say that this combination is going to be working well together. So I'm going to start by talking about the rising sign and then talking about the sun sign and, the functions of these particular influences and how they also work together. Your rising sign is going to possibly show how you look and how you might express this and how you look. In other words, how you dress, what kind of hairstyle you have, and so on and so forth. Sagittarius is a masculine sign, so I really think that the rising sign is most influential, and I've actually read this myself that it's influential when you're younger. And so for women, you might have been a tomboy. You might have been favoring pants versus maybe you didn't really like wearing dresses. This has nothing to do with some women looking, masculine in general. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know what I mean. It's like just having that desire to be one of the guys. And being a sun in Sagittarius myself, I can even vouch for that. For masculine sign women, they may enjoy like actually being around the opposite sex. But when you were a child and maybe even in your 20s, you might have been very sporty. Sagittarius can be like wearing, what would I say? Something that, especially like adventurous, maybe hiking pants and hiking boots. Maybe that was like your jam. Just kind of like casual clothing. Nothing very, maybe ethnic clothing because Sagittarius rules the ninth house that deals with foreign travel. And so the love of foreign garb, like for instance, in my case, even though I don't have it on the ascendant, I still think that we can get, especially when we're older, we can really be more like our sun signs. Clothes from, Ecuador, or I just like that kind of stuff, kind of hippie, stuff that has, or Native American and ponchos and all that kind of stuff. And that might be what you like as well. And certainly for men, enjoying that kind of athletic gear and anything that has to do with like exploring. So, I mentioned like hiking pants, hiking boots, and all of that. Now, in terms of personality, or this would be, the kind of way that you behave around other people, it can be very jovial. Jove is Jupiter, and you are ruled by Jupiter. And by the way, being ruled by Jupiter means that you are very lucky, or you should be, because Jupiter is known for that. And also very cheerful. That's kind of what jovial means. So definitely with this combination, there can be a very lighthearted demeanor. Unlike somebody who's like a Scorpio or something like that, where they're more intense, this is definitely a very extroverted combination. That's another thing. With the masculine signs, with the air signs and the fire signs, there tends to be an extroverted personality. And because of this, you can navigate social situations like a boss. And this makes it very easy for you to meet new people, mingle. I would say that that's something that you probably really enjoy. And, speaking about foreign countries, you might even be that person who in your 20s spent a lot of time traveling. Now, some people may continue that for the rest of their life, and that becomes one of the things that is deeply embedded within themselves. Now, there may be other factors that support that with other personal planets and the house placements of some of these things. But yeah, that might be something that is a part of your life, is travel. Maybe you're a foreign exchange student, or even someone who became a digital nomad in your 20s. And a big part of that is that you wanted to experience the expansion of travel. Freedom is your middle name, having this ascendant. And that's where it gets interesting with your sun sign being Libra, because Libra is the sign, it rules the 7th house of committed partnership. And this is something that Libra individuals tend to be rather obsessed about, is their love life, having a significant other in their life. But when you have Sagittarius rising, that might be something that you don't necessarily go after first and foremost, because you have that strong pull to be on the move, to be exploring the world. Also, you have to look at your moon sign, your Venus sign, for more information on your tendencies, in terms of your love life, because that could also indicate someone who is much more adventurous than strictly romantic. But, I do feel, I always say that Libra is in love with love. So even if you do have a strong desire for freedom, you might be one of those people who fall in love on your travels, knowing full and well that you're going to leave that area. And so you can have like that little taste of romance and then move on. And so you get the best of both worlds. But, like, let's say your moon sign is Aries, and that makes you more adventurous, like your Sag rising, and more independent. I keep saying adventurous, but and about freedom loving, but it's really about having that independence. And what does that mean? It means that you rely on yourself. It means that you're not joined at the hip with another person, which is what Libra would love to do. I'm going to say allegedly, because not every Libra person is the same. And again, Look to your Venus sign. What if you have Venus in Sagittarius? That's going to just enhance that desire to be free, or maybe to find a fellow traveler as someone that you are in love with, and that you're not like living this typical white picket fence existence. Even if you got married and had children, you might be the kind that does van life and travels all around and is constantly exploring. So in terms of the sun in Libra, the sun is, our aspirational self. So who we came here to be in this lifetime, the light we came to shine on the world. And with Libra being ruled by Venus, you could say that's your ruler too. You could say your rulers are Venus and Jupiter. And both of these are considered benefic planets in Vedic astrology, Eastern astrology. So this could be a very fortunate combination for you in many ways, including financially. But you're probably a very popular person, because Libra individuals tend to be very agreeable individuals. They tend to be very likable. One thing I always say about Libra is that they can be people pleasers, but with Sagittarius rising, and maybe if you have other inner planets that support this, Sag is very like blunt and independent. So you may have more of an ability to say no, simply because you don't want to commit yourself necessarily. That's one of the things about fire signs, is that because they love their freedom, they don't want to kind of commit themselves to something that might keep them feeling trapped. And as a matter of fact, especially when you are younger, you may have found, and I'm saying even throughout your 20s, you may have found that you got yourself into some awkward situations by your propensity for telling the truth. Sagittarius is connected to honesty, but also blunt honesty. And Libra is diplomacy. So in that sense, you may have stepped on a few toes when you were younger, but as you get older, you may grow into your diplomacy. By the way, both of these signs is connected to the law. So you might easily feel drawn to become a lawyer, or maybe even a paralegal, something where you can be connected to that field. Libra believes in fairness. And because Sagittarius is a very broad-minded sign, you will tend to be, I wouldn't use the word liberal, because people think of that way too much about, political affiliation, but I would say progressive, meaning that you really support the rights of others, and you really are open-minded. So you're interested in people other than like yourself. And you might even be like some advocate for such people, because Libra is an air sign, so it's connected to communication. And Libra people tend to be very glib. They can talk very slickly. And yes, I did mean slick, not to be insulting or anything, but there could be that quality that is a little bit, sometimes Libra can be a little bit ingenuine when they are trying to flatter somebody else. So I think it's a great balance to have the Sagittarius energy, which will make you much more concerned with authenticity. Um, and by the way, when I say ingenuine, I don't really mean it as a put down. I mean it because you're so accommodating and you really want other people to feel a sense of, your own appreciation of them. In terms of professions, I probably shouldn't even talk about them with these types of readings because the rising sign isn't going to be that influential in it. However, because sometimes image is a big part of things, you'd probably be really good as a tour guide, for any kind of thing that has to do with travel, because Sagittarius is a natural teacher, but Libra can be as well because you're such a good communicator and you have that natural intellectual capacity with both your sun and your rising sign. You might actually be in academia with this combination. I say academia, which is, another word talking about college level instruction, because Sagittarius rules the ninth house of higher learning, and Libra has the capacity to teach at a more sophisticated level. Maybe you're a writer. Both of these might feature that because Libra is ruled by Venus, which can be arts, and Sagittarius can be the writer, the publisher. That's ninth house. So these can be professions that you excel in that also take into account your rising sign. As I stated with your love life, I think that you can never ignore a person's sun sign as far as their influence in any area of life, and especially your love life, being that you are a sun in Libra. So I do think that you have to look at your moon and your Venus sign to get a better feel for it, because if you have like your moon in a water sign and or Venus in a water sign, you're going to have a more complicated emotional nature that is not as free, behavior, feeling. You might have like a strong emotional attachment to people, places, and things. And so there might be like kind of this dichotomy, or this hot cold part of yourself that you kind of blow hot and cold emotionally. Sometimes you're very into a relationship and then you pull back because you're afraid of getting too caught up in it. But in any case, I do feel that you're going to be still wanting a relationship. You just might be ambivalent about it with Sagittarius rising. But I think this is a great combination overall for a person who is probably generally very upbeat, like a positive person, and somebody who just enjoys new experiences, intellectually taking, exploring cultural things and whatever your personal interests are that you like to read about and, learn about. That's what this combination is all about. All right. Thank you for listening. If you'd like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.